It's time for the Green Wave Coaches Show, broadcasting each week from Prince Street Pizza and Pub in Gallatin, Tennessee. The Green Wave Coaches Show is brought to you by Tennessee Ace Hardware, Gallatin's local hometown hardware store, serving Gallatin and Sumner County for the past 50 years. Stop by and let Jimmy and his staff take care of all your hardware needs. Bank Tennessee, the bank for the Green Wave. Delta Dental of Tennessee. Visit deltadentaltn.com. Double Dogs, Sumner County's favorite sports bar, and the Ingram Law Firm, a local law firm that you can count on. Let our legal family help you and your family in your time of need. Now, let's get to the show and join our host, Blaine Kellar.
The Green Wave Coaches Show heads into the regular season finale. Gallatin takes on Wilson Central Thursday with a chance at third place. Sumner County Sports Editor Blaine Kellar, joined by Gallatin football coach Michael Stroup, as always. Before we get into the game ahead, the chance at some better postseason positioning for the Green Wave, first is a recap, as always, of the game last week. Gallatin falling 35-21 against Lebanon. Coach, before we get into the game itself, it's the second straight year of Union Throwback Night.
Yep. Very
important night for the history of Gallatin and Union high schools. The second iteration of it after it was debuted for the football team a year ago. How did you see the turnout, the response, all of those things in its second iteration after the debut of it?
Yeah, I think it's a great time, to debut the Union uniforms and kind of give homage to the Union football team and the school. I wish we could take our kids and show them the history of it. Basketball gets a chance to do that, but it's a smaller number of kids and it's more controllable. We have, probably, close to 90-something kids and coaches included, so it's a little bit harder to kind of get them over there to see the old Union High School and go through the old the museum and stuff they have over there, to kind of share the history with those. I'd like to get those kids involved in that one day and share that with them. But yeah, I think kids enjoy it. The community gets behind it, and they enjoy it as well.
We're brought to you by Tennessee Ace Hardware, Bank Tennessee, Delta Dental, Double Dogs, and the Ingram Law Firm. And for the next few weeks at Prince Street Pizza and Pub here in Gallatin, every Tuesday night, be sure to check us out. Talking about the game on the field, fell behind 14-0 at halftime in this one. Again, lost 35-21. Just what was your assessment of the offense maybe early on, and what were the struggles in those first two quarters?
Offensively, we kind of hit a roadblock. They had a kind of a different scheme that we had not. We saw it on film, didn't really expect to get it because they hadn't used it a lot. Matter of fact, they used the game before just as a package, but they debuted it and played it every down against us early on, and so. It took a little bit to kind of get a bead on what they were doing, and so we had to make adjustments. And coming out of halftime, I felt we made the adjustments offensively. We just, we've got to continue to grow and develop up front on both sides of the ball. We're very young there. I've got one offensive lineman who has started, each of the 3 years I've been here. The rest of them are quite new to the positions. We've got 3 first-time starters. And then we've got Jamie Hardinson, who is, he started the last quarter of the season last year for us, so he's fairly new. But, when you played 8 games, that kind of newness goes out. So you got to grow up in a hurry.
Right.
And on the defensive line as well, we just got to keep developing those kids, and we take great pride in doing that. Coach Pitts does a great job with the offensive line, and then on the defensive side, Coach Kemp does a really good job of developing those kids. But we just got to continue doing that as a coaching staff and encouraging, getting bigger kids out there to help us out.
Well, like you said, Gallatin's offense found a bit of a groove in that second half, but Lebanon had a few 80-yard drives, scoring series there after halftime. I know you've been complimentary of your defense these past few weeks, and I'm sure this is fair to say. You feel like it's a unit that's playing better than what the score shows. You had a couple of takeaways in this game, maybe just a little wore out from long series like that against Lebanon.
Well, as a coach, and you got to take it with a grain of salt sometimes, and it's not an X and O's thing where we're not lining up right or we're lining, and kids are misaligned and all that. It's not that. And it's not effort, right? Our kids are playing with great effort up front and everywhere on the field. And, sometimes, physics comes into play. And, you run into teams. In the past 2 weeks, we have run into teams that are larger than us up front. And you can only sustain that for so long. And you've got to be, I told the kids, mentally we've just got to get tougher. And you got to get tougher physically. And, the old saying, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. That's not really true. All right? I mean,
there's some big dogs.
Yeah, you've got to have some size, and you've got to have some girth on you. And we just, we're going to coach what we got, and we're going to coach our rear ends off, and the kids are going to play hard. And I have no squash with the effort from our kids. They really get after it, and we just got to be able to take it in the later rounds, and we've kind of faltered from that, in the past 2 weeks, in the second half, on both sides of the ball.
Outside of the obvious answer of getting bigger kids or getting kids bigger,
right?
How do you overcome a challenge of facing a tougher team, or not a tougher team, a larger team, like you said? Is there a way that you can overcome that?
Yeah, I mean, there's things schematically that you can do, but you got to execute it at a high level. You got to be able to throw the football. I mean, if you're going to line up and think you're going to run it in A gap and B gap over and over and over again when you're facing a larger opponent, then that's not going to work in your favor at all. So you got to be able to throw the football, and we struggled there in Friday night a little bit. And, we just, again, I've got to continue just coaching my rear off with KB back there. He's looked good at times, and at times he has struggled. But, it's my job as the not only the head football coach, but, someone who's responsible for the quarterbacks to get him better and make things simple for him. And, he takes a lot of pride in how he plays, and he's hard on himself. But, I remind him all the time, you got to turn the page, you just like in your world, you may write a bad paragraph or a sentence
or a bad story.
You got to
do that.
You got to get over it.
Yeah.
You got to get over it and move on. And it's body language, and we talk about that all the time. And there's no different. You just got to encourage those guys to get better and get in film and just keep working.
How have those conversations, I guess, changed since the start of this kind of stretch where Kayshawn has had to take over the quarterback position to now where you kind of know how he's going to operate as a quarterback? You kind of know what you need to tell him at this point, how to coach him at that position.
Well, we've tailored the offense around him and what he's able to do. There are things that he's really good at. He's really good at extending plays. He can use his legs a little bit. And so we try to magnify that a little bit more with the running game and the option and all that. And you just gotta keep encouraging him and not to hang his head. And he does really good on the quick game and struggled Friday night with it. But you're gonna have times like that with guys like not having a whole heck of a lot of experience. I mean, he's played quarterback at Davidson Academy where he was his freshman and sophomore year. But the simple fact of it is it's Class A ball, right? Or Double A, they are now. It's a whole lot different from 6A. All right? The speed of the game's a whole lot quicker. Pieces move a whole lot quicker. Not his fault. Just, got to get him ready and film study. And we watch a lot of film together, me, him, and Jackson. Jackson's in there helping him out every day. He's at practice every day helping him out and doing a really – matter of fact, Jackson basically came to assistant quarterbacks coach. And so just encouraging him to lead the team and do what he does to help.
And I guess I'm curious about kind of where you guys are at offensively, like within the playbook. You tried to gradually lean KB into the playbook and the system, had some success to start. Was there a point where you gave him some more, and has that led to maybe this stall a little bit this past week?
I don't know. No, again, it's, you're seeing a different look than you prepared for on Friday night. So, I mean, it changes the trajectory of my reads and stuff like that. So all that kind of changes a little bit, and you got to adjust on the fly. I think, I kind of explained it to the coaches when we first started. I'm going through a spring practice with KB in the middle of the season. Yeah. So, I mean, you can't give them the whole thing. You just kind of give them bits and pieces. And I have to remind some of the coaches, and I have to remind some of, I even have to remind Jackson sometimes. He'll say, hey, we can do this, we can do count the people in the box. No, can't do all that right now. Yeah. All right, we've got to keep it simple, and and things like that. And KB's responded great, man. He's a great kid, and he wants to win. And there's not a kid on that team that likes to lose. Nobody likes to lose. Sure. But it's encouraging them during the week to practice hard, right? Make Friday nights the easy part, and then let's make it hard on ourselves Monday through Thursday. But when you go when you play beach and you lose a game, and you lose it how we did, for 3.5 quarters, we stayed toe to toe, and then we just wore it down and it got out of hand. You come back from that and you want to turn the page and go, right? But I'm dealing with 15, 16-year-old kids, so you got to push them along sometimes. And that probably wasn't the best week of practice for us last week, dragging around a little bit and just, hey, gotta go, don't matter, get better, but they're still kids, and you just gotta get it out of their system, and I think that probably carried in over on Friday as well.
Gallatin will have one more chance in the regular season to turn the page, going up against Wilson Central on Thursday. When we come back from this break, we'll talk all about that matchup with the Wildcats. You're watching the Green Wave Coaches Show on Main Street Media Television.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25-plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
When you're looking for the right attorney, it's important to ask questions that address your needs and concerns. Is your attorney local? A local attorney is often more attuned to the specific issues and challenges you may face. Jay Ingram understands the Gallatin, Sumner County, and Middle Tennessee communities well. He's been practicing law here for 25 years. What are their primary areas of practice? The Ingram Law Firm focuses their practice primarily on the areas of criminal defense, domestic relations, civil litigation, juvenile law, and probate. Do they genuinely care about the community? Jay Ingram, his associate attorneys, and legal staff are not only skilled, but they're also deeply invested in their community. Managing partner Jay Ingram is a graduate of Leadership Sumner and has held leadership roles with the Sumner County Bar Association, Gallatin Green Wave Quarterback Club, the Gallatin Lions Club, and he's a graduate of both Leadership Middle Tennessee and the Tennessee Bar Association's Leadership Law statewide program. Why does all of this matter? Finding an attorney who understands, cares about, and is connected to the local community can make a significant difference in your experience and your outcome. Jay Ingram, Haley Medley, and Austin Knapp are dedicated local citizens and attorneys who are here to help you navigate your legal challenges with compassion. Reach out to the Ingram Law Firm PLLC today at 615-452-6613 or visit ingramlawyers.com.
fish until that grass is cut.
Dixie Chopper, speed when you need it.
Visit your local Dixie Chopper dealer today or visit dixiechopper.com.
Score big with your hometown team. Bank Tennessee is proud to be the bank of the Green Wave. We believe in supporting our community and we're dedicated to helping our neighbors succeed. When you bank with us, your deposits help fund local businesses, homeowners, and community projects. Go Green Wave! Bank Tennessee, www.banktennessee.com, in Gallatin at 544 Hartsville Pike, 615-442-7914, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Continuing the Green Wave Coaches Show here at Prince Street Pizza and Pub in Gallatin. Blaine Kellar here with Coach Michael Stroup, getting ready to preview Thursday's game against Wilson Central. You touched on it a little bit at the end of the first segment there. Maybe what can you take advantage of after back-to-back losses in the way that you lost to Beach and Lebanon? You've got one more chance here in the regular season before things really matter in the postseason. How do you take advantage of that with this team?
Well, you just encourage the guy, and you kind of reestablish your goals, and the first thing I told our guys was, hey, we need to reinsert our physicality at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. We've played two good opponents back to back, and all three games we've lost at the line of scrimmage, in my point. In my opinion, and we've got to get back to the physicality that we can control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Also, third down conversions. I went back and looked at the numbers. The first 3 or 4 games. Especially when we had a different quarterback in, we were 52% conversion on third down. Since then, we've been 26.
Wow. So
how do you fix that, right? Well, you got to have successful first downs, right? You can't be 2nd and 10,
right.
2nd and 8, right? You got to be 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6, and make your third down shorter, right? So that's how you get that, because converting a 3rd and 8 becomes a whole lot harder, right?
A whole lot harder than 3rd and 3.
Yeah, well, you want your 3rd and 3s. You don't want 3rd and 8s,
right.
So we talked about the third down conversions, and basically, and also understanding, getting better mentally and situationally. All right, understand the situation, where you're at on the field, right? Where the chains are, defensively and offensively. Deep snapper, right? Let's get the snap. Let's get the snap to the punter, right? Let's not leave out of there so quick.
Yeah.
And we had a bad snap there early on and set up a short yardage for their offense and
right.
a quick score, right? So you take that away, and instead of a 14-0 game, maybe it's a 7-0 game at halftime. So, those things we've got to focus on. And last week we had 1 or 2 days, maybe one day, where the deep snapper was having trouble getting the ball back there, and I pulled him aside. Hey, listen, got to get the snap first before you cover, But that carried over into Friday, and sometimes, they're just like receivers or infielders in baseball. Sometimes you get the yips, and hopefully he gets the yips out and gets back to snapping the way he can. And he did fine the rest of the game, but it happened in practice and it carried over to the game, right? So we've got to correct that.
Green Wave Coaches Show is brought to you by Tennessee Ace Hardware, Bank Tennessee, Delta Dental, Double Dogs, and the Ingram Law Firm. You faced 2 really good running backs back-to-back here in DK Williams of Beach and Gian Azita of Lebanon, rushed for over 250 yards. In that tough, kind of reestablishing toughness a little bit, do you emphasize even more what you emphasized last week about run defense when you're going up against another talented running back in Chaz Martin? And maybe how does Martin compare to those other 2 running backs that you've gone up against before him?
Yeah, number 4 is a really good running back, very talented guy. And, what they do offensively, which is the single wing, they'll snap it to one guy one play and snap it to the next guy the next. They'll snap it to an up back, and he'll turn around and pitch it. So there's a lot of deception back there. So you got to have disciplined eyes, right? So you got to have keys. You got to read your keys defensively. If you start looking at running backs and stuff like that, help. One may be going one way, one may go the other. So you've got to read your keys, and Coach Russell and his staff has done a really good job the past 2 days of emphasizing that. We're just on a short week. You're playing on a Thursday, so you've got to, you're squeezing all that in. We won't have a walkthrough tomorrow, which we normally do before a game day. We're going to actually have another day of practice. So we just got to keep our eyes trained and trust in them, and go attack the football. Go attack the running back, hit him, and make him earn every yard he gets.
Well, you've taken 2 questions straight out of my mouth here, so we'll touch on one and then follow up on the second. First, talking about Wilson Central's offense and those, the discipline that you need at the defensive line whenever they snap it to one guy and have a lot of flash in the backfield. Also, the offensive line shifts a lot. Right?
Yep.
In pre-snap motion.
Blaine's been in film, guys.
How are you preparing for that?
We're practicing it. But they're the type of offense they can eat up clock. And so you got to get them off the field. You can't let them have big plays, big runs. You got to limit their third down conversions, and put them in long yardage situations. That. Take case in point, they played Green Hill last week. Opening drive, they kick it off to them. I think they took 7 minutes off the clock and scored first. So Green Hill's down 7-0 with probably 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. So you just got to be patient and don't think offensively you got to score with one play. You got to return the favor. But again, getting them off the field and not letting them chew up clock is going to be a big thing.
I give credit to Wilson County sports reporter David Wilson for giving me the tip on that.
You haven't watched film then, Blaine.
I've watched some.
Cheat sheet.
It's the perk of having a widespread network of sports reporters. You talked about the Thursday schedule and how it changed. For better or for worse, you guys went through this a couple of times last year. So does it feel a little normal? I mean, are you not kind of overwhelmed by the fact of a shortened schedule because you've had to go through it, I think, twice last year?
It's a different group of kids, so it's different preparation.
Maybe as coaches, though.
As coaches, you're kind of used to it. I've done this now 20 years, so it's not my first Thursday game, but I think when the rain this week is going to hamper us. We were inside yesterday. We'll probably more than likely be inside tomorrow. We got outside today and we're able to do more stuff. But, I think the Thursday night thing, this is our second year in a row we have a Thursday night game. And I don't understand that because the TWSAA, when they first came out with this, we got shortages, so you got to play one night every other year on Thursday night. We got 2 nights, so I'm not really sure about how that happened, but, I'm sure it's legit. But, that's the frustrating part about it. You just two years in a row we've had to play on a Thursday night, and I may have misunderstood it, but it just crams in one extra day.
Yeah.
You don't get, unless you come in on a Sunday and practice. But we felt like we needed another day to game plan and get all that squared away. But that's normally what we do. I've always in the past just have a normal practice day on a Wednesday and then play it on a Thursday and get after it. Hopefully the rain's supposed to be out by 7 a.m. Thursday morning. We're probably going to have to hustle to get the field painted because we haven't been able to get out there and paint the field.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who's in charge? That's not you painting the field, is it?
Yeah, we all paint the field.
Woo!
Yeah.
Long day ahead.
We have a robot that puts down the lines,
Yeah.
but we have to do the numbers. But we usually have a night to do that, right? So
Yeah.
we usually do it on a Thursday night after walkthrough or Thursday afternoon, and we're probably out there to 6 or 7. But now we got all this rain in the forecast, and it's so much moisture in the air,
Yeah.
and so the paint's not going to dry. So there's other things that you probably weren't ready to ask me about, but,
I'm glad
we may
to
have
get
lines, we may not. I don't know. We'll find out.
a throwback if you don't have lines. I mean, I don't know the last
I can
time.
do like my dad used to do back in the 70s, just go get some flour and put it on the line. That's what everybody did back then before they had paint.
Bet that probably picked up pretty quickly, huh? Just a couple of runs down the field and then
Yeah.
kind of shoots up into the air. I asked you last week the importance of getting second place against Lebanon in the region standings and in the playoffs. What's the importance of maybe getting third now and finishing off with a win in the regular season?
Anytime you get an opportunity to play and get a win, it's great. And, just ending the year on a good note. Wilson Central is, I think they're 5-4. And so, it's an opportunity for them also to compete and get a win too. And they want one just as bad as we do. And we've just got to go out there and play football and play disciplined football and execute our assignments. And if we can do that, I feel like we can put ourselves in a good opportunity to win.
Win or loss, Gallatin is back in the postseason this year. After missing it last year, I know it's a rarity for you. Did you miss it being away from November football?
It was longer than I like my off season was longer. Like,
yeah.
Christmas took longer to get here. But yeah, it was different. But again, you're playing in a harder region, and we had we had some games not go our way last year. But, again, it's an opportunity for us to get in the postseason. I told the kids, on Monday, we finished it off on a high note, and everybody starts 0-0.
That's right.
And anything can happen in the playoffs. We just got to, put everything else behind us and go forward.
Gallatin finishes off the regular season Thursday against Wilson Central. When we come back, our one fun question. Coach Michael Stroup, you're watching the Green Wave Coaches Show on Main Street Media Television.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
When you're looking for the right attorney, it's important to ask questions that address your needs and concerns. Is your attorney local? A local attorney is often more attuned to the specific issues and challenges you may face. Jay Ingram understands the Gallatin, Sumner County, and Middle Tennessee communities well. He's been practicing law here for 25 years. What are their primary areas of practice? The Ingram Law Firm focuses their practice primarily on the areas of criminal defense, domestic relations, civil litigation, juvenile law, and probate. Do they genuinely care about the community? Jay Ingram, his associate attorneys, and legal staff are not only skilled, but they're also deeply invested in their community. Managing partner Jay Ingram is a graduate of Leadership Sumner and has held leadership roles with the Sumner County Bar Association, Gallatin Green Wave Quarterback Club, the Gallatin Lions Club, and he's a graduate of both Leadership Middle Tennessee and the Tennessee Bar Association's Leadership Law statewide program. Why does all of this matter? Finding an attorney who understands, cares about, and is connected to the local community can make a significant difference in your experience and your outcome. Jay Ingram, Haley Medley, and Austin Knapp are dedicated local citizens and attorneys who are here to help you navigate your legal challenges with compassion. Reach out to the Ingram Law Firm PLLC today at 615-452-6613 or visit ingramlawyers.com.
fish until that grass is cut.
Dixie Chopper. Speed when you need it.
Visit your local Dixie Chopper dealer today or visit dixiechopper.com.
Score big with your hometown team. Bank Tennessee is proud to be the bank of the Green Wave. We believe in supporting our community and we're dedicated to helping our neighbors succeed. When you bank with us, your deposits help fund local businesses, homeowners, and community projects. Go Green Wave! Bank Tennessee, www.banktennessee.com in Gallatin at 544 Hartsville Pike, 615-442-7914, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Closing out the Green Wave Coaches Show with one fun question. Of course, this week is Halloween, Friday night, the holiday. Gallatin playing a day early. But I go back to 2 years ago for my one fun question with you, Coach. On Halloween week in 2023, I showed up in a costume that you were unaware of. I'm going to have our great producers at Main Street Media Television put this screenshot on the screen so that they don't have to look at this very small one on my phone. But Coach, I'm going to give you a second to look at this costume, and you have two answers you could possibly give here. You can either say what the costume was, because I told you then, or you can tell me what you thought the costume was. Both were funny. The second one, I still tell people about to this day. So it's a yellow shirt, blue apron, there's a banana on it, there's your hint. Had some khakis on. What was this costume, Coach?
My first thought Savannah Banana, but I'm totally off on that one. I don't know.
Savannah Banana is not correct on either front.
You got a banana on it? That's supposed to give me a clue?
Well, because what you said 2 years ago was, I don't know, Banana Man.
Banana Man.
As if there was some sort of superhero named Banana Man and it happened to be me.
There should be.
There should be. That is not the costume here. So you're 0 for 2 on this costume. I've got to keep wearing it, I guess, till you get it. It is George Michael Bluth from Arrested Development.
Yeah, I'd never got that in a million years.
Well, maybe 2 years from now I'll bring it up again, and then
Arrested Development.
Yeah, that was a popular show in the 2000s. Michael Cera, Jason Bateman.
What
Will
night
Arnett.
did it come on?
It was on Fox. It aired on a couple of different networks.
But what night did it come on?
Now, I mean, I was like 5. I mean, I've watched it,
If it came on Friday nights, I'm busy.
I don't think it came on Friday nights. I think it was an early half of the week show.
Oh, okay.
I'll come back next week and I'll tell you the night that Arrested Development aired.
All right.
That wraps us up on the Green Wave Coaches Show. Be sure to stay tuned to our coverage for Gallatin and Wilson Central Thursday. We'll be back here next week getting ready for the playoffs. We'll see you then.